Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sharon Tabraham, CEO of ST Communications in South Africa. And Sharon, you are the GALA Champion of this month, so congratulations.
Thank you so much, Isabella. I love the word champion.
Oh, you are, absolutely, and we'll see why when I ask you a couple of questions about your activities within GALA. But first, I would like to ask you about your career in localization, because I know that you have kind of a special background, very specific, that had probably nothing to do with languages and very little to do with technology. Why don't you tell us how you ended up in localization?
Thanks, Isabella. But first, just thank you for inviting me and allowing me to share my journey in the industry. Yeah, I started by absolute fluke. I was involved in the pharmaceutical industry and in sales. I don't have a linguistic background at all. So when people ask me how many languages I speak, I'm very embarrassed to say I only speak English. But I was introduced into the industry and I just loved it, and then had the opportunity to start on my own. And with a sales background, I didn't really know how to start in the linguistic side of things. So it was a very big learning curve for me, and one that took me on lots of dips and highs, but I learned a lot. Yeah, and that was in 2008. I did it on my own, and I think my biggest asset was my sales background, because I could, and my people sort of skills that just connected me with clients, and then I had to actually find translators and learn how to get involved in language.
Yeah, that's interesting. And you work from South Africa, of course. And so, of course, I have to ask you about the African market, because we were discussing it's an emerging market. But give us a bit of an idea what kind of market it is and what the outlook could be. What's happening on the African market in general?
Yeah, so ST Communications is based in Cape Town in South Africa. And as you know, the African continent is enormous, and the amount of languages that are spoken is also, I can't even tell you the number, because there's so many different languages and different dialects, and there could be a Swahili that's spoken in Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, so it's enormous. But the market and the potential for translation and localization especially is really on the rise, and has been for quite a number of years. The African market is very young, so they are keeping up with a lot of the trends, a lot of social media, anything to do with technology. The young Africans are wanting to know about, and they're wanting their products, or the products that they buy, to be in their language that they understand. So I've always said that there is a huge potential for people to invest in Africa, and I'm loving working in Africa, because every day is a new challenge, is a new client, is a new business, and so many different translators that we are working with throughout the whole of the African continent. It's challenging in that it is an emerging market. There's a lot of training to do. There's a lot of terminology development that we have to work on. But I would say that for us, I think that we're on the up and up.
Wonderful. Yeah. So why did you join GALA?
Well, for me, when I started, I actually felt quite alone, because I didn't have the linguistic or the language background. So I didn't know anything about the industry, or I knew very little. And I thought to myself, I just want to go and find out what's happening overseas, because we are in Africa and a little bit behind. So I joined GALA, and I wanted to learn, which I have done. I think that GALA has taken me on a journey through especially the conferences, the networking, the webinars, being part of the GALA committees, and it's just been a huge learning curve for me. And they really have contributed so much to what I know today. And yeah, it was the best decision I ever made, is joining GALA.
Oh, glad to hear it. And you were part of the program committee for the conference, one of the online conferences, the GALA Connected 2021. So tell us a little bit about that. Did you enjoy the experience? It was hard work. I know that you guys worked very hard.
I think the committee of 2021 was, it was difficult for us because we all wanted to connect and we were still in the pandemic. So we had to do everything online. We didn't have the socials and the camaraderie of being in a venue and being in a beautiful hotel and networking in person. But at the same time, it was so awesome for me to work with people that I'd never met before. Well, I'd met before, but never worked with. I learned a lot about different industries from different committee members. I've made very good connections with them. We still chat, and you know, if there's something that one of them needs from Africa, or me, I need something from America, or whichever country it is, we still connect. So it definitely, anything that you do with GALA, it forms very strong connections and relationships, and a lot of trust, and
that's wonderful.
I enjoyed it. I'm really looking forward to this next conference and being able to see everybody in Dublin. And
so are we. But to go back for a second to what you said about translators and training and how important it is for the African languages, etc. So there's a lot of talk about hiring new people, what skills you should look for, you know, do you go for upskilling with your team, or for reskilling, etc. So when hiring new people, what are you, as a CEO of ST Communication, what skills are you looking for? What are the essential skills that you need, and what new skills are you also looking for?
Yeah, so I mean, we look for the basics of linguistics, but apart from that, we're looking for people that have great communication skills, people that want to learn, people that have a great sense of humor, a good drive. It's a special kind of person that can take the challenges and also the stress of either being a linguist or a project manager. At ST Communications, our team is mainly in-house project managers, a few linguists. So our project management team are the ones that really take the brunt of the stress of the industry, because it's just go, 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 and everybody expects everything very fast. There's no holidays. So yeah, it's a special kind of person, and somebody that wants to grow, and I think it's a unique career choice. And often when I've spoken about my career, people are surprised that there is a translation agency and what we do. So especially in South Africa, it's not like in Europe where there's a lot of translation agencies and that kind of thing. But we struggle to find people to work in our industry because firstly, not a lot of young people are studying linguistics. So we struggle to find our minority languages, and we have to really push to try and get the youngsters to study linguistics and to study them, well, to get a BA or something in their mother tongue. So the resources are scarce, and we tend to work with a very small pool.
And you mentioned also clients wanting everything, and maybe also being a bit on the fence whether they want to localize or not. So how do you persuade an organization that localization is really worth investment when it comes to the African market?
Yeah, it is. It's not really a challenge because a lot of people do see the value of localizing, but it's not only understanding the language, it's really also understanding the culture. We have had an instance in South Africa, one of the stories of not localizing correctly came about in, I think it was in 2020, when a well-known shampoo brand had an advertising campaign, and they promoted their shampoo for fine and flat hair like mine, which they told everybody was normal. Now you can imagine that in Africa, that is not the case. Yeah. The majority of our population do not have this kind of fine and flat hair, and it caused a huge uproar. So we always try and get people to localize correctly, to do the culture background checks and make sure that everything that they are going to localize in is suitable for the market and the right things are said. And yeah, as I've said a little bit earlier, I just think that there's just so much potential for localization in Africa, and promoting overseas products and brands in African languages.
Yeah, and of course technology plays also a part, because it's like this AI hype that's doing the rounds, and everybody expects a miracle, especially when it comes to machine translation, etc. And how does the organization fight this kind of hype? What kind of information do you provide your clients? Do they expect miracles with MT and African languages, or what's the situation?
I think we're a little bit behind on AI, and we definitely make use of MT. I mean, there's a huge demand and need for material to be translated very quickly, which is humanly challenging. So we, as an organization, believe that there is a place for AI and for MT, but we should remain more people-focused, with machines supporting the process rather than machine-focused and people supporting machines. So we're trying to, in our market, sort of shift it and not make it such a negative part of our industry, because I think it's here to stay, and we've just got to find a way of working with AI. And I definitely think that it's a must, because it does improve the way that we can deliver. Sometimes not the quality so much, but we're getting towards, especially with our African languages, MT is, we find more post-editing work coming our way, because the machine translations that we've been given to post-edit aren't the greatest of quality. But yeah, I think that AI has got its place, but we've just got to make sure that it doesn't totally take over our world.
Yeah, exactly. And so going back to your business, what's your biggest accomplishment, you think?
I think it's being the owner of ST Communications. We came from very humble, small beginnings, and I do feel that we are one of the market leaders in Africa, which has always been my intention, is to be a market leader and to bring African languages to the world. So I'm very proud of where we are. I'm incredibly proud of ST Communications, our team. So yes, for me, I think this is my biggest accomplishment.
Okay, that's great. And one very final question. Any career building advice that you would like to pass on?
I think just continue to learn and to, I mean, I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn and just researching what is going on in the industry, keeping up with the trends. It's moving so fast. So for me, it's just like keeping up with what's happening in Europe. For us Africans, is making sure that we keep up with the technology, we keep up with the trends, and if there's people in Africa that really want to get involved in the translation, I mean, they're the ones that speak the mother tongue and of their countries. They should take full advantage of it. I mean, it's their natural gift.
Yeah,
speak it and learn it and get involved in the industry, because there is so much work.
Yeah.
And we can work from anywhere in the world, as you know. I mean, we've got linguists that take their computers on holiday, and they get well paid, I believe.
Okay, that's a great advice. Keep learning. Sharon, thank you so much. Hope to see you very soon in person.
Thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you in Dublin.
Yeah, me too.